Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's CITI program webinar. Today's topic is Emerging Technologies and Homeland Security, and it is presented by Dr. Ryan Jenkins. Just a few quick notes. This webinar will be recorded, and the recording will be available on the CITI program's website. This webinar is also for educational purposes only. It is not designed to provide legal advice or legal guidance. You should consult with your organization's attorneys if you have questions or concerns about the relevant laws and regulations that may be discussed in this webinar. In addition, the views expressed in the webinar are solely those of the presenter. Now, let me tell you about today's presenter. Dr. Jenkins studies the ethics of emerging technologies, especially AI and robotics, in the domains of defense and security, autonomous vehicles, cyberspace, and others. His work has appeared in academic journals as well as public fora, including the Washington Post, Slate, and Forbes. He regularly consults for companies from local startups to Silicon Valley Fortune 100 firms. And now I'm going to pass the mic to Dr. Jenkins.
Today, as Daniel mentioned, we're going to be looking at emerging technologies and the threats they pose to Homeland Security. And we'll also be discussing some possible responses or mitigations for those when they're easy to identify. The objectives for today are listed here. So we will explore the evolving challenges in Homeland Security from emerging technologies. In particular, we're going to focus on three clusters of technologies. So that will be ransomware, AI, and election misinformation. We'll look at the Internet of Things pretty extensively when we're looking at malware, ransomware, cybersecurity. We'll talk about some ethical and regulatory strategies to address these threats. We'll take a look at disinformation and deepfakes and the threat they pose to election integrity, which is a pretty significant one. And we'll understand how Homeland Security can adapt to these kinds of technological changes, because the Department of Homeland Security and their mission is undergoing a pretty radical revolution right now, considering the context in which the department was founded versus the kinds of threats that America is facing today. So the more people you can let into the top and the wider each of the constraints are at each point, the more people you're ultimately going to have that purchase your product. The point is that the internet is proliferating into all of these relatively mundane objects. And the more and more we let them into our house, the more and more important it becomes to secure them. There are also places where AI has started to demonstrate better than human performance. And that can be especially concerning and especially provocative for people that watch these developments closely. You can think of some of the other ways that AI might, quote unquote, supercharge the creation and distribution of propaganda. The Department of Homeland Security was born in a very different era. It was born in the wake of 9/11, and its original charge was preventing foreign terrorism on American soil.
I further invite you to subscribe to our podcasts on campus, on tech ethics, and on research. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and please also consider subscribing to our weekly newsletter. And lastly, I invite everyone to review our content offerings regularly, as we are continually adding new courses and webinars that may be of interest to you all. For instance, our Essentials of Responsible AI course covers the principles, governance approaches, practices, and tools for responsible AI development and use. You can learn more about this course and others at citiprogram.org. In closing, I'd again like to thank Ryan for today's webinar and our audience members for joining us and for their questions. And that concludes our webinar. Have a great day.